First, just a little basic information. Maybe you can just give me a brief summary of when you started the newspaper and the television station.
Yeah, we started the newspaper in 2005 in Sudan. Actually, it was towards the end of the year. So we're continuing until 2007. We moved down to Juba. With television, we started in 2012. It was not. It was not actually an investment project. It was a project to save the value of the mining, because when the government shut down the oil, we realized that South Sudan pound is going to drop. So we have to put something. We have to put the local mining on equipment. So until now, we are just depending on. We are not very aggressive because there is no market, but we are financing it from other projects like
What kind of projects?
Advertisement and the sales of the newspaper. So it is the newspaper which is feeding the television for a time being.
Yes.
Yeah, but we are considering getting into. We are trying to move into digital solution by 2015 on our own, because the government have no clear policy on this.
But the news organization here is independent politically.
Yeah, we are independent, 100%.
No financial investments.
No. Normally, we borrow money sometimes back in 2012, and it was only to increase the buildings and the offices.
Yes.
Now we realize that the circulation of a newspaper may drop, so we set up a restaurant. Maybe you have seen it.
Yes.
So that when there is economic situation like this, people always think about movement, transport, food, and medicine. Nobody will. Sometimes they cannot buy the newspapers. Yeah.
Let me just jump to what I really want to talk to you about. It's the political crisis here, and if we look in the broad perspective, why is it that after so many years of civil war and this part of the country finally gets independence, 98% votes yes to independence, and everything seems to be going in the right direction, that after 3 years you are again in a civil war here?
Well, I think there was a confusion between independence of South Sudan and the issues of governance. So I think during the years of the struggle or liberation cause, everybody just want to fight to liberate himself or herself. That was the agenda. So it was a collective effort against the North. Now the North has gone, there is no political agenda anymore. And there is no clear political direction. The SPLM do not have a clear ideology. So in the absence of ideology and absence of vision, we are in a vacuum. So it was expected. Some of us were expecting this crisis to happen. It was not something, because we just got the independence. But what next? There was no political plan.
And now there's actually a civil war. If you were to explain to somebody from outside, what are these fractions fighting for?
Yeah, it is. This civil war is a result of accumulated frustration among the tribes during the years of war. There was an agreement between the SPLM mainstream led by Dr. John Garang and Dr. Riek Machar. They call it Unliad Agreement. This agreement was not implemented. And they just agreed that, okay, let us liberate the country first. We become independent, then we go back to war. And that was why there were no army barracks in South Sudan. You can say there is Bill Farm, there is Yada, but if you go into details, you will not find anybody who is in charge of that place. Everybody is keeping his forces in his house, in his village, in his county, and that's all. So it was something expected. For me, it was not a surprise. It was a surprise that it took long. It would have started in 2012. But maybe for some technical reasons, these things come up. So unless people go back to the drawing board, what was agreed when the SPLM is split in 1991, and then they agree in 1997-98 to become one. Those provisions are supposed to have been debated in Addis Ababa now, but they are discussing new issues, which is totally against what was agreed in only in 1994. So we will continue to have this civil war until the time our leaders come to their sense that they want to stop war. The international community also, they just rush, oh, South Sudanese have been oppressed by Khartoum regime and all these things, so they just support us blindly. They did not put the condition that, okay, if you become a nation, these are the terms, these are the norms of the international community. We were asking them, are we not going to be another failed case like Eritrea? But some ambassadors, because they were like, some of our leaders here, because they are also emotional. Like them, oh, these are Christian, let us support them to separate. But in Eritrea, a similar situation happened like this. And it was allowed. Now, for those who support the Eritrea government, they are facing a problem even to get a visa to enter the country they suffered to support with the taxpayer money. So this was also another mistake. Now everybody is blaming us, but also we are all responsible for this crisis that has happened. The international community did not come out very clear before independence that when you get your independence, behave like a nation. It was not done. Now they are trying to impose sanctions, and it may face a problem because we have oil and technology is no longer in the Western countries. You can get it in anywhere. So if we can sell, yeah, if you can get somebody who will invest in the oil even at the expense of war, then why do you care to listen for these people who are demanding for human rights and all these things? So really, the international community, they need to unite and address the issue of South Sudan without their interests. Just put it on the table that we have to let you know that there is a need for peace. Again, there were issues, leftover issues from the peace agreement. Historically, Ethiopia have a very strong tie with South Sudan. Ethiopia was neglected. Khartoum was having outstanding issues. They were not addressed. Uganda have a similar demands. All these countries, without South Sudan addressing their needs, we will still have a war because Khartoum will not just allow us to go like that. There were promises. South Sudan leadership promised Khartoum that we will campaign collectively to get rid of the debts from the international community. And when we got our independence, we did not even say a single word in international forum that please forgive Khartoum with the debts which were used in the previous years. So these are all issues, the border issues. We are still, in a small way, we are supporting the rebels here and there, the northern rebels. So what will make the Khartoum not to arm our forces? Anybody who is disappointed will get weapons from Khartoum. Ethiopia also have issues of development. They want to get, they want to invest in South Sudan, and they want South Sudan to be a strategic friend. And South Sudan is not addressing. While actually the Ethiopia sacrificed a lot of resources on the SPLM, SPLA. Now they want a payback. Uganda also, even during the years of war, was involved in the war directly. Now South Sudan was not showing a kind of a strategic plan. So it is a confused situation. The crisis that has just happened because of the frustration within the leadership of the SPLM. But at the end, the war will be shifted to these countries. They have to fight themselves.
But now you say a number of countries are involved to a certain extent in what's going on.
Yeah.
Uganda and also Khartoum, Sudan and Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Do you see that this could end with a war that would leave South Sudan as a failed state?
South Sudan is already a failed state. Not as a failed state, it's already a failed state because if you cannot provide the basic needs, security. Like yesterday, during the daylight, some people jump into the church compound and loot during the day. So what is there in the church that need to be looted if we are not failed state? Can we not respect what the church did to us all these years? So we are a failed state. If you want to go and pay your money now to a government institution, you will stay there for 2 hours and you want to pay them. What is failed state? It's a state that cannot deliver. We don't have anything. If the war continuing, we will collapse. And we are going to collapse because now if we are spending $40 million US on fuel, for how long are we going to spend such amount? And we don't have a big investment that require such amount. And we have our refinery ready. Why don't you defend refinery? And even the war is being wrongly fought. I'm not a soldier, but I can understand. Why putting all the forces in places which are not necessary? Why don't you put your forces in the oil producing area to defend the oil? And this is what Khartoum did. They pull all the forces, put them in the oil area and put them in big towns. Let the rebels celebrate whatever they want to celebrate. Now we are putting forces where we don't even have a single plane that take our forces around. There are forces that do not have a communication, that do not have any means of food. So how will you control this situation in the long run?
Do you think, normally you speak of a failed state as an area that could be home to terror organizations like you see in Somalia. Could you see that perspective happening here?
It is possible that all the criminals of this world, they will all come to South Sudan because we don't have a control. You don't have a control. If people from Bangladesh are selling dry fish here, you can find them even in a rural area where we, the citizens, do not have access. If Chinese are washing cars in Juba, then what is left? I think we are just being saved by God, actually. There's no body that is protecting this country. From my opinion, I have been moving around. There's no government control on things that are happening. And sooner or later, we will face the same problem. Even nationality, document, passport, everybody is getting them. Because of the poverty, officers are giving out all these documents. So what will prevent terrorists not to come? And if you go to Normally tomorrow, the police, immigration, they are the one transporting people, but with a motorcycle inside South Sudan, so that they don't face the issue of migration, paying $50 and all these things.
Human trafficking.
Yeah, the bus is stopped on that side, and then the police go with their motorcycle and bring all those people inside, and then later they go and collect the bus and then they come to Juba.
So what you're talking about is not only corruption, it's actually authorities.
The authorities are failing. They are failing in almost everything. And even this so-called fuel subsidies. One time I went to Normally, I discovered that a certain fuel tank was carrying water because they want to sell dollar is a commodities here. They want to bring water, then empty them, pay all the necessary taxes, nobody is checking them, and then that's all. Your benefit, $40,000, $50,000, finish. You have your money in the pocket, you just hire a car, with water for $4,000, and then you benefit from the others. So we are not really in a situation of controlling our own destination. And we have always been asking the authorities to address the immediate thing is the control of the government.
What end do you see in the near future for the country?
Well, if our leader did not come to that sense, we will have something worse than Somalia. And we are going to, South Sudan is going to take the region back to war. Because those who are bordering Ethiopia, tribes along that border, they will be armed by another groups in the region, and they have to start a civil war in Ethiopia. And then Ethiopia can arm other group. The same with Khartoum. Khartoum can fight with other tribes. Uganda can arm other tribes, and it will be like DRC. A movement start, it die, another movement start, and then it died. That is, and all this, they go back to the issue of creating jobs. Historically, South Sudanese were not allowed to work in big offices in Sudan. The only skills which was given to us was war. So you have to be a police, you have to be a soldiers in the army, you have to be in the security. And then these people, they were all laid off during the independence. Now these people, they are staying idle here. What do you expect? They will just be there for some time, and then they will create their own movement. And that's why the war will not finish. Because here there's nothing the majority of the people are doing. In the SPLA, all the area was militarized. Everybody was carrying a weapon. I'm the third born. When I went to the village in February, I found that my mother have about 5 rifles, and she's an old woman. And then every woman have 5 rifles. What do you expect from the young people? And if you go to WOW now, you find that ammunitions have been sold in tin containers, in barrels. You don't even waste time to count them. With a very petty prices. Actually, if you go to WOW, it's like an open market. People go there, soldiers go there, they go and sell their ammunitions, sell their weapons. If you capture a weapon, a gun somewhere, you go and sell it, somebody buy it, and that's why in lakes now, the communities are more stronger than the army. I'm told yesterday they were trying to capture a tank, and they can manage it. And these are all crises that are waiting for our government.
And what is happening in these days exactly in Unity State? The fighting has just begun again after the wet season, the rain season. Can you give me just in a few words what's happening
I think the rebels are looking for the base. They need a town with an airstrip where there will be their forces, their friends will deliver them their equipment. So they have 2 options, either to capture Malakal, maintain it, or capture Unity State.
The whole state?
Unity State. No, I mean the town.
Bentiu.
Yeah, Bentiu. So this is an obvious thing. And with the government tactics, I think one day they are going to capture one of the town and maintain it, because it is the opposite direction. The government during the rain season, they managed to control the bigger area, according to what I hear. And then the rebels were busy retraining their forces, so that the real war will be during the dry season. From December onward, we may even be having a problem here, because there are rumors that they are crossing to the side of eastern Equatoria. And if they reach there, then that we will not be having access to anything.
So there could be a war even in Juba?
Yeah, it is possible. And this war in Juba is not necessary that the rebels can come. There are a lot of disgruntled groups, whether call them police, call them security, call them anything. They can cause war any time. So now it is you may call it, it is a tribal war, but at the end it will go to it is a challenge for survival of individuals who have only war skills. So they have to many other tribes they will rebel, including Dinka themselves. The issue may turn into anarchy, where there is nobody controlling anybody. Like the one of DRC, you may know that throughout all these years they are fighting. What are they fighting for? Nobody knows. It is because there are no jobs. There are no jobs. And here now we don't have jobs. It is the government that employs. Now if the government cannot pay salaries, what do we do? And we are left with only one oil field, that is in Faluj. The one of Unity State is not operational now. So what do you do with this one field if it run into problem also? How will you pay your forces?
This is more or less the only income.
Yeah, this is the only income actually. The rest of the income, I think they are not counted. Yeah.
Do you have any, it sounds very grim, the situation as you explained it. Do you have any hope anyway? Do you see a hope?
There is a hope if the two leaders can come to their sense, agree on the power sharing, and then once there is an agreement, then they have to go for military reform and reforms of other sectors. Because here, from what I can see, the government here have a tendency of dictatorship, but they don't have capacity for dictatorship. So at the end of the day, it will be like former regime of Uganda, Idi Amin Dada, where things collapsed. He took over the shops of Asians, and he could not manage them. He didn't know that goods are to be brought from outside. So he took over the shops, and then when the goods finished, then that was the end of Idi Amin. So we are going to have a similar situation. Any dictator that do not have a clear ideology, do not have a clear vision, normally lead the country into anarchy.
And the leaders of South Sudan, you don't see them having a clear vision of, a clear ideology?
No, there is no ideology. We know all of them, actually. There is no ideology. And even in the SPLM, SPLA was just was composed of people who are frustrated from the Sudan. That was the only agenda that brought us together. Now there's no an agenda that will bring us to. And that's why people have gone back to tribalism, and it will not hold. This idea of Nuer Dinka fighting themselves, it will not hold, because the two tribes have a lot of similarities. So what will happen at the end, it will develop into a serious anarchy if it is not controlled. The best thing, and they don't want to be told, was that the two principles, if they have this country in their heart, they would have just stepped out and help the young leaders to develop this country and resolve the issues that are coming up. But they don't want. Okay, now, for example, President Kiir, he wants to rule for the second time. Okay, what are you going to deliver? You are now ruling, you are running the country. Nobody, you can dismiss, you can appoint, you can sign a contract by yourself and all these things. And then how do you solve your internal issues? So it is, I always say, most of them cannot deliver, and they don't want. So what do we do? And now the worst scenario, they brought their followers. Riek Machar have this white army, Kiir have these forces, call them Dotbeng or Matianganyar.
Militias, really.
Yeah, militias.
Yes.
Now, if they agree, if the two parties agree, how will you integrate these big forces into the army?
And they have been armed?
They have been armed.
Ready to fight.
Yeah, even another 2 days ago, somebody came here with a gun. He said he got lost. He is a bodyguard in the president. He doesn't know the direction because he came the other night. And then he came and ate here, and then he forgot where he came from. These are actually very serious issues which need to be addressed. And the whole thing, it will go back whether our leaders have a vision or not. Riek Machar, if he come up, what will he deliver? He will not deliver anything. It will be a cycle of corruption, nepotism, tribalism, and all this mess. So, but let them agree first. Yeah. But there is a hope. If the international community intensified pressuring, sanctioning the real people, not the generals who have no bank accounts, then peace will come, and then reforms. It is a collective work.
And the real people who should be sanctioned?
Yeah, those who are in the gears of power, whether they are in the president's, on the government side or on the rebel side. Because if you just prevent them not to go to Kenya for treatment, because they all have houses in all these neighboring countries. I was in Arusha 2 weeks ago, and I saw some of them were not living in the hotel. They have their own friends or their own houses. Ethiopia is like the second home. Nairobi is like second home. So if the regional government can come and say, you guys, you need to be sanctioned. Don't come to our country, just die there. they may change their mind and behave well. But now you are sanctioning. Like Peter Gadet, I know, he have never entered any bank to collect the money. Even his salary sometimes is collected by some of his wives. Santino Deng, is also, he never even enter hospital if he is sick. Normal just ask for a medicine to be sent to him, and that's all. So sanctioning such a person doesn't make sense. Yeah. So we need really a very serious engagement, something very aggressive.
So you're saying also that the international community
They did not help us.
really.
They did not help us.
Should
Actually,
have
they should have put conditions before independence. And the mistake they did, the international community did in Eritrea, is the same they did here. People were just in motion. Oh, we need independence. Let South Sudan be independent from the Muslim domination. That was the focus. They didn't know that we are also human beings. And this is where crisis happened.